Hello and welcome. My name is Carol Carter and I'm the founder and CEO of GlobalMindED. We are all about creating a capable, diverse talent pipeline to get more women, people of color, underrepresented populations, any way that you can define diversity into the education, economic mobility, and leadership pipeline. We do that in a number of different ways through our annual conference, which this year is virtual. So this is one of the sessions in 10 weeks of really incredible leaders from all different backgrounds, leading panels, and there is a student on every single panel that we have throughout the 10 weeks. So it's a pleasure to be here with all of you today, and thank you for joining us. We will also post this to our YouTube channel, and you can watch this and share it out later, and the link will also be tomorrow in our newsletter. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Jessica Rowland-Williams, who's an incredible trailblazer, and she's the person who runs Every Learner Everywhere, which is our partner for this work with the Student Speak project. And she is remarkable in many ways, but one of the things that is really noteworthy about Jessica is she was one of the trailblazers at Princeton who had a child as she was getting her PhD, and she's been able to break a lot of other barriers through the work that she does. And she's going to tell us a little bit more about that in depth, and then share more about the work with Every Learner Everywhere and what kinds of things she's leading to close the equity gap. So Jessica, so proud to have you here, and welcome to all of our students as well. Great to see you.
Hi, Carol. Thank you so much for that introduction. It is really a pleasure to be here and represent Every Learner Everywhere, which is a network of 12 network partners that collaborate with higher education institutions to improve student outcomes through digital learning. And we focus specifically on improving outcomes for Black, Latinx, Indigenous students, as well as poverty-affected students and first-generation students. Our network partners, as we have 12 partners, represent leaders in innovation, leaders and innovators, in digital and teaching and learning and digital learning. And they have expertise in a variety of different areas, including the adoption, implementation, and measurement of digital learning tools as they're integrated in courses using evidence-based teaching practices. One thing that's important for our network is our focus on equity. And one way that we center equity is by ensuring that we build solutions not just for students, but with students. And that's why the work that we've done in collaboration with GlobalMindED has been so important. We think that building solutions starts with listening to the people who are most impacted by those solutions. And of course, in this case, that's our students. And so over the last, wow, Carol, has it been a year now? We've engaged over a year. We've engaged in a project where we've been working closely with the GlobalMindED Fellows to create a series of reports that really capture and highlight the experiences of students, through the pandemic with virtual learning and digital learning tools. Carol, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about the specifics of the program.
Mute. Yes, so we started last year with 102 of GlobalMindED's leaders that had gone through the June leadership class. And with the support from Every Learner Everywhere and Dr. Nina Mosby-Tyler from the Equity Project, interviewed those different students in 90-minute segments about what it was like to go to the shift in March and April to digital learning when everybody mostly had to go home. And we also looked at a lot of other things that had impacted students as learners, their family situations, the ways in which their colleges were responding. And out of those interviews that really happened through last, first week of August, we created a report of the 102 leaders called Student Speak. And that's a report that we're happy to share with all of you if you didn't see that earlier in the year. Out of that 102, we selected 25 students to represent the students from the 102 larger group, and we called them our GlobalMindED Every Learner Everywhere ambassadors. And the students you're going to meet today are part of that group. And in November, they went out to 10 people in their networks, and they surveyed different students at that time. So then we got feedback from 250 students on what they were experiencing during the fall semester. So that was published in early December. And that's another thing that we'll give you the link in the follow-up, as well as the link to this recorded session. And then just this morning, we published the Student Leaders Speak report. And this is for college presidents, CEOs who want to hire diverse talent. Maybe they don't know how to reach students or understand what students are going through. And we also know that this is important for policymakers. You know, it's not possible to solve for students who are low income, first gen, or from different backgrounds if they're not at the table with college presidents, with deans, with the different people who have the decision-making ability, and with whom, when the students are at the table, their decisions are so much better than when those students are included. So that's kind of the background. We hope, I think both Jessica and I can say, to normalize the process of what we've gone through the last year, so that every college can start a, student leadership diverse advisory group for the administration, the college presidents and deans and provosts, but that also it works two ways, that these students not only can give great input for the college, but they're also getting experience with their voice, with their authority at the seat of power. And that's going to help everybody professionally do better.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Carol, I think one of the things that's so fascinating about this report is I think it really highlights the importance of the qualitative research. I think a lot of times we see student surveys, which give us information on, kind of yes or no, up or down, however, we don't always have opportunities to capture the stories and the experiences and the color to some of the things that students are experiencing. So again, I think this is just really a fascinating piece of work. All right, well, let's dive right in with introductions. Because obviously people are not here to just listen to Carol and I talk, but I think they really want to hear from you guys directly and hear some of, this incredible perspective that you've shared in these reports. So Hector, we'll start with you. Maybe if you just be willing to share, your name, your field of study, your year, your institution, and maybe, one fun fact about yourself, something that, the audience wouldn't know just by kind of looking at you.
So hi, my name's Hector Ramazias, and I'm a senior at the University of Portland. One of the, I guess, something cool or unique about me, I guess, would be that, I don't know, I play, I guess, 5 different musical instruments, and I've learned half of those within the span of the past year because of COVID. And I thought that was something interesting to share.
That's awesome. Whoa. All right, Kyra.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kyrah Welch. I'm now a junior at Bethune-Cookman University. I'm studying psychology. I would like to be a spiritual life coach. And yeah, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky.
Very cool. All right, Sarita.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarita Lyles. I am a graduating senior sports science and fitness management student from Greensboro, North Carolina. And I go to North Carolina A&T State University.
Fun fact, what's your fun fact?
My fun fact, I guess, I was recently initiated into Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. So that's one fun fact about me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Jair.
Hi everyone, my name is Jair Flores. I recently graduated from Colorado State University with my bachelor's in biology and Spanish. And I guess one fact about me would be that I used to compete competitively in cup stacking when I was younger, so still have those skills.
That's really interesting. All right, well, I have a lot of questions to ask these students. Carol, do you mind if I jump right in?
Yeah, jump in. And I'm so sorry. There was some sort of weird audio on my Spectre. So we'll have to see what happened with that. So I hope I didn't miss anything, but yes, jump in.
All right. So, you know, as we all know, this last year has been a year pretty much unlike any other year, right? I mean, it's been a doozy, and not just because of the pandemic, but, you know, we've also been facing, you know, police brutality, economic crisis, you know, pandemic. It's just been a lot going on, you know, at the same time. So I guess my first question for you is, you know, how have you changed or shifted, struggled, or even grown as a student leader under the weight of all of, you know, the multiple compounding crises that are happening? So maybe I would love to hear from you about how all of this is just impacting each of you individually. And let's start with Kyra. Kyra.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, finally, my computer audio fixed again. It's going in and out. Can you please repeat the question?
Just wondering how you have grown or shifted or changed under the weight of COVID and the national racial challenges. I'd love to just for you to talk about how it's all impacted you as a student.
Okay, definitely. The first thing I would like to say is I am a lot more independent. I feel like I've always been an independent learner. I feel like I've always had to teach myself at, you know, a certain degree, but now it's kind of amplified. I'm a lot more reliant on myself for information. So like I've kind of forced myself to adapt to, like, you know, to what's around me, like how to use other resources, you know, how to really like just get out there and find the tools that I need to become a better learner, because this year kind of restricted learning as a whole. I've also found myself a lot more open-minded and a lot more tolerant to the things around me, specifically dealing with the racial injustice going on in the country. So I've had to learn that, you know, I can't force everyone to have the same opinion as me. The only thing I can do is educate others and fight for what I believe is right. So I've always had like a, you know, a warrior spirit when it comes to social justice and things like that. So it definitely, like, I don't know, pushed me out there again. So I kind of had to step back into that role that I played in high school with wanting to, you know, educate others and, you know, try to find peace within myself during this, because it's easy to fight for justice, but, you know, like you always have to take care of your well-being. So I've really been kind of focused on like my health in a holistic way.
Wow, thanks for sharing. Hector, what about you?
So I guess one of the things that this past year that I've kind of grown and changed a lot is learning how to speak up and ask for help. One of the struggles I've always had was I've always been kind of like closed off and not really reach out, but because of the pandemic, you know, knowing that everything's online and knowing that things are really hard, I just kind of went out of my comfort zone, which is something really hard, but it really taught me to speak up more, because there's certain things that people like others who may be going through similar situations may not necessarily speak up more. So I guess it taught me to speak up and to also be that voice that others may not necessarily feel comfortable opening up to. I also became more open to listening and kind of hearing where everybody came from and, you know, learning from the stories, and really kind of realize that a lot of us are kind of dealing with the same issues that we don't really talk about. And another thing that really was big was typically I'm the person that goes out and asks for help. But this past year, with all the struggles we've been going through, it's kind of taught me to be that support person for others, and it's been very, I guess, great for me to, you know, learn how to be a better leader and be there for those people where I haven't necessarily been used to that. But I guess overall, I've learned that my voice is very important, and that, you know, when I speak up and do things, that there can be a lot of change, especially with like ongoing problems in the country. I've really spoken up and I've not been afraid to do that.
That's so incredible. Sarita, what about you?
I think for me specifically, when it came down to like the police brutality and stuff, I'm still like currently dealing with that. However, I want to piggyback off of what Kyra said about taking the time to focus on my mental health as well. So I've been focusing on that a lot. Specifically also with the pandemic, I know that's really pushed me like towards like managing my time better, finding ways to like keep up with assignments, finding making sure that things that I'm occupying my time with is not just something that's going to fill up space, but something that's going to have meaning. So I basically learned those two things with everything that's going on.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of growth and, really being introspective, among all three of you. Jair, you're up last. Talk to us about how this has all impacted you.
Well, I think for me personally, it allowed me to be grateful and appreciate the little things around me that we sometimes take for granted. Just even being in the classroom setting and interacting with the professors and students, it just allowed me to kind of be appreciative of like that setting. And it also allowed me to be resourceful as well. There was many times in classes that I had questions that the professor couldn't help me with because she was doing Zoom or whatever. And it just allowed me to go out there on my own and learn a couple things on my own. So definitely allowed me to be resourceful. And just like everyone mentioned, it allowed me to, like the whole police brutality, everything we're going through, allowed me just to have an open mind with everyone and just be there and listen to them and try to be a helping hand to them as well, and try to tell them that I'll be there if they need me in those situations as well. So it definitely allowed me to grow a lot as a person these last couple of months or year that we've been going through all this. So.
Yeah, that's incredible. One thing, just kind of a pattern that I noticed is how you guys are really pulling from inside of yourselves, kind of finding that you have skill sets and things inside of you to support you through this. I'm also interested in, what tools and resources and external support systems have helped you to navigate this system? Were there things external that have helped you cope? And can you talk a little bit about those? Let's start with Sarita.
Yes, so some resources that I use, I'm a part of this organization called TRIO, and it's for first generation college students. So basically, they help with different things that they have on campus, whether if you need help, they talk about Murphy Hall. Murphy Hall is like a place for counseling, or even like with the new like vaccines and stuff coming out, they give information on that, and then they'll direct you to resources or places that you can get that done. I know personally, piggybacking off my like time management thing, I use Google Calendar. That app has really helped me stay in tune with time management. But pretty much, yeah, Trio has really helped me through a lot during this pandemic.
Yeah, that sounds like an incredible program. Jair.
I think what's helped me navigate through all this was my peers and support group I have around me. Just my coworkers, my family members, my friends. I realized that we're all going through the same thing, and sometimes just even talking to them helps us stop worrying about those things too. So I owe a lot of credit to them. They definitely helped me navigate through this entire thing. And I think one thing for just speaking academically was the online tutoring service my university provided for me. There was a in-person tutoring lab open before all this, but obviously that was shut down because of COVID. But they improvised and provided an online learning platform, so that really helped me in my classes. So really appreciate that from them as well. Just other online resources as well, like YouTube, Khan Academy, and all that too helps. So
Yeah. Thanks for raising that. That is an important resource. Hector.
I guess people who've helped me, I would say, well, definitely would be my my parents, and I guess this past year, a couple of my professors who were willing to go out of their way to understand my situation and understand the struggles I've been going through, which, coming from being a student, especially, in this pandemic, it's not really easy having those people, especially in a virtual environment, to be there and supportive and check in with you. And something else that really helped me cope with this pandemic and this past year for me personally has been going to therapy. I'm not gonna lie, and I'll just be honest and say that I have a lot of mental health issues, but me going out of my comfort zone to go to therapy and talk to somebody has really helped me cope with everything and really helped me deal with all these things and also grow as a better person. And I guess something else is I'm part of this other first gen program called First Graduate, and they've always been checking in on me, and I've always made sure that everything I'm doing is, on point, and I'm on track at being, a successful person and things like that.
Thank you for raising that mental health piece, because I think that's something that, we don't talk enough about. It's a very real struggle for, honestly, most of us. And I think certainly during this pandemic, it's become even more just of a struggle. And so, counseling is just such an important thing for all of us to be aware of, Kyra.
As far as education goes, I've been looking toward YouTube a lot. I know that GroupMe is a very helpful tool because it allows me to connect with my fellow students and things like that, so we can communicate and we can gain tips from one another. So that works a lot for me. Social media surprisingly has taught me a lot, especially like going toward my education. It's actually really amazing, like who you can find that can help you, like whether, it's a small tip or, something you've never known before. As far as my mental health goes, I've actually been turning toward, I've been really focused on my spirituality. So that's kind of taken, I guess that's kind of taken over in a sense. So like allowing me to get that peace of mind, allowing me to, understand like the world around me and like how that, affects me personally and how I affect it. It's really helped me maintain a positive mindset on school, on life in general, especially when COVID was kind of pushing everyone toward a dark point.
Yeah, that's incredible. You guys all sound like you have really just taken full advantage of all the resources, both inside and outside, and use those to push through. And it shows in your success, in your ability to kind of really navigate what has been a really challenging time. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about your experience as an ambassador, because all of you guys were, global-minded ambassadors this year, and had opportunities to, serve as leaders in your own institutional settings and among your peers. So I'd like for you to talk a little bit about how your experience as an ambassador has shaped your leadership. You can talk about maybe some of the things you did and what that's meant for you. And if you'd like to add, it'd be interesting to hear, how that's thinking about how that's shaped how you think about leadership going forward. And let's go back to Kyra on this one.
So to start off, we did think pieces, we wrote our stories and we shared our personal stories. So I was able to share a story that that I've kind of not like I haven't hidden the story, but it's been kind of suppressed because I used to tell it to everyone all the time. So, having to kind of, get that out helped me a lot personally. It also opened up a new path, I guess you could say, in my life. Being in the ambassadorship definitely helped me pick my career path, specifically because we got mentors as well. So because of that mentor, she kind of helped me and guided me into like this new way to she helped me, sorry, I'm tripping over my words. She helped me think about, what else I could do and where else my potential could lie. And I think that helped me as a leader, specifically because at first I thought, a leader is someone who's supposed to be a master at this and they can help everyone and, push everyone this way and guide everyone that way. And sometimes we learn that leadership is something that we're not necessarily perfected at, that is something that we never necessarily perfect, is something that we just get better at and something that we get more skillful at. So definitely that helped me as well. Specifically with the life coaching thing, I tried I tried a class actually that helps me get better at this whole life coaching, and I actually, like, I'm really secure in what I want to do in my career now. So that's how it's helped me.
That's incredible. Jair.
Well, being a global-minded ambassador, I feel helped me in a variety of ways. And one of the ways it helped me was realizing the amazing peers there are everywhere and how much they care about these deeper issues that sometimes we don't have the opportunity to have conversations with. It was great learning everyone's story and being able to relate to them as well. Just like Kyra was mentioning, there's like some details that you don't always tell people, and just being comfortable enough to share those because of the group that you're in was amazing. So it definitely helped me out in that way, just to grow as a person. The mentorship too, I have an amazing mentor that I still have touch with, and can like probably continue for a while after this whole program. And he's definitely helped me out a lot. He's given me a lot of books to read that have helped me grow as a professional, and just being able to relate with him on certain issues and someone to talk to more than anything has really helped me with my mental health when I'm struggling or something like that, or an issue comes. So he's really helped me through those problems. And I think the survey too was really impactful. It allowed me to view my peers, the struggles they were going through, the issues they had, and just seeing that we were all going through the same things, and just trying to able to help them with that as well. So that survey definitely impacted in a major way at my university. I was able to talk to a lot of students. So and it helped me build other connections that weren't there before prior to the survey. So it's helped me. And I think moving forward, I'll consider myself to be a servant leader. I think that was a big idea here through this whole global-minded ambassador, to be a servant leader, be there for your community, be there for others. And so I think moving forward, that's what I want to do. That's the type of leader I want to become and strive to be. And I'll work every single day to try to be that way. So it definitely has impacted me in a lot of ways.
Wow, that's just so poignant and incredible. I love that servant leadership. That's so important. We don't hear that a lot. That's just incredible. Hector.
I guess what this ambassadorship has really taught me and has shaped my leadership is in that just like all of us, allowed me to open up and be somewhat vulnerable when I'm, sharing my story, especially when it came to our personal biographies. It's very hard to, express who we are, but that really taught me that, it's okay. And it really also showed me that my voice is very powerful, and that my voice can really help me connect with others. And overall, it really just got me thinking, and really just made me want to be a person who listens and understands everybody, and actively tried my best to try to be there, and something else that really helped me was mentorship, like everybody else has talked about. My mentor was really amazing. She still is, and I really appreciated the fact that, she really challenged me for certain things and gave me some valuable constructive criticism that allowed me to become a better leader and better person. And just like I was talking about the story, about my personal story, it really just made me want to connect with others. And now, being a leader now, I really just want to connect with others, whether, it's another student, a professor, or somebody on the street. And I just want to listen and hear their story, because I've learned that everybody's story is just as important as mine. And it's that the only way of growing and becoming, I guess, a better person, and, making our world become a better place is just by listening to everybody.
Man, that's so key. Oh my goodness. I feel, just listening to you, as I feel so hopeful for the future. Because, if you guys are going to be the next, wave of leaders, wow. Sarita.
Yes, so for me, definitely the mentorship. I've never had a mentor before. So it was an adjustment for me to actually have like somebody there that not only I could share things with, but also that it's like they stepped in my shoes before and I could kind of like get like hindsight information of, okay, maybe it didn't work out for her, but now going forward for me, here's something that I can work on this way in the future. I don't have to make the same mistakes that she did, or I don't have to go through the same troubles and obstacles and stuff that she did. That definitely helped me, and it definitely did help me become a better leader, because I myself am also a mentor inside of Trio. So that definitely shaped me, having that mentorship there available. Yeah, and GlobalMindED just in general helped me build like this perspective on life, allowing me to like reflect on everything that was going on. Because it's like it was happening, like everything was happening, but I wasn't necessarily taking the time to think, how is this shaping my future? How is this shaping my present? So I definitely appreciate GlobalMindED for that perspective.
Thanks, Sarita. And it was so interesting to hear so many of you talk about your mentors and the power of mentorship. You know, I think that's one of those like life hacks, one of those things that nobody tells you is important, but is so critical to success. And some of the most successful people that you see in the world attribute a lot of their success to having good mentors. So it's so good to hear you guys affirm that and have the opportunity to have that experience. So let's shift gears a little bit because, you know, one thing that you guys all had the opportunity to do is talk with your peers and talk about virtual learning, talk about digital learning, talk about how things were going. And, you know, as we said at the top of this, you know, this has been a tough season for a lot of people. So what I'd like to hear from you is, you know, what do you think are some of the top challenges or have been the top challenges of, you know, virtual learning through a pandemic over the last year? And you can speak on your own behalf, or you can speak based on, you know, what you've heard from others, or both. And Hector, let's start with you.
I guess one of the biggest challenges for me was getting used to the online environment. I have ADHD, so one of the things that's very hard for me to focus and to kind of stay on topic. And when you tend to be, you know, confined to your house and indoors, it's kind of hard to keep that motivation and keep that, you know, momentum going when you have literally everything around you. So that was one of the top challenges for me, having to adjust to that and having to somehow have to accommodate myself and having to open up and, you know, vocally express it to my professors that, hey, these are certain issues. Another challenge, I guess, for me would be that this was all new to us. So as much as it was new to me, it was also new to my professors. So it was kind of hard to learn much, at least for the first half of the pandemic, or at least first half of, you know, this ongoing pandemic. And it's been hard. It was hard for my professors like me to, you know, for them to kind of how to teach it. And I guess each professor had a very different style that at the end of the day, ended up being a lot more overwhelming for people like me and others, because we didn't really know what method was the right way or whether my professor was willing to, you know, change some of his teaching styles. And I guess those are the challenges that I had to deal with most of the pandemic and things like that.
Sarita, what about you?
So my biggest challenge would have to be going off what Hector said, would have to be the motivation. Because like I was so used to getting up, going to school, you know, being surrounded by my friends. And it's like that environment would motivate me. I'm not necessarily an extrovert, but at the same time, I like that social aspect of having people, you know, to basically challenge you and to, you know, help you grow. So just transforming from that into this environment where it's just me at home and having to learn and teach myself. And it's some classes that you can't really teach yourself to as well, like whether it's math or like, for example, marketing. So that was a struggle as well.
Kyra.
I think that definitely the lack of motivation has kind of been a big one. Also, a lack of direction, I would say, because a lot of the staff were unprepared for the pandemic as well. So, we have professors who have never really used Canvas or never really used the platforms that they used. And, they weren't able to teach on those as effectively as they would in person. So to have those, we had professors that were struggling as well as students. So, someone who's teaching, and that's, can't teach, no one's learning. So that caused the lack of motivation. I had a couple of friends actually leave school and realized that maybe this wasn't the time for them. So that kind of sucked a little bit because, you hate to see someone, when you first met them, they knew exactly what they wanted to do. They were so full of life about their education and, just for it all to deplete within a semester. So I think that that was definitely one of the biggest challenges. Another challenge I would say is a lot of students were unstable during this time. So they didn't necessarily have the resources that they needed to be able to have this, get on Zoom or, even learn to the best of their ability. Some of them were dealing with lack of housing, lack of food, basic needs like that. And it's impossible to learn or even impossible to have that motivation without having your basic needs. So I think that that was a huge issue for students.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. We've heard that a lot, through surveys and different things. But I think, you're right. So, when your basic needs aren't met, it's hard to prioritize class, and so that's just so important. Thanks for raising that, Jair.
Well, just to go off what everyone said, I think some of the issues included having to do Zoom all day. I think that got very tiresome for some of us, just staring at the computer screen all day. That I don't know, just me staring at the screen all day would kind of make my eyes hurt a little bit and have headaches afterwards. So just being on the computer screen all day and trying to learn at the same time was a very difficult challenge. I also think the classroom setting was something that was dearly missed by a lot of students. It wasn't the same on Zoom. There was times where some students would have their cameras off and you wouldn't really be able to interact with them, and you'd be the only one with the camera on, and it'd just be awkward because it'd be you and the professor. So it was just difficult learning that way, and with group projects as well, when you were paired up with groups and they would have their cameras off, it just made it difficult to interact with each other. I think another issue with the online learning was those in-person classes you needed were not being offered anymore, such as the labs. Um, some classes offered the opportunity to do online labs, but you don't get the same skill sets you would from actually going in the classroom and doing the lab itself. So I think that was definitely another issue. And just like Kyra was mentioning, the resources on campus, a lot of students utilize those resources on campus, whether it be the learning centers. I know some universities provide food for the students and just open spaces for them as well, learning spaces. So just definitely those resources not being available to the students was a difficult challenge. And students go for the college experience, to go on campus, meet people and all that, and that being taken away from them too was also a challenge. So for a couple.
Yeah, so we know though that a lot of faculty were able to rise to the occasion and did some things that worked. There are a lot of things that didn't work, but we know that there were also some things that really worked well. So I also want you guys to share, because you have some people listening in who might want to hear, what worked well, what should we continue? So what were some of the things that faculty did or that, your institution provided that were really helpful and supportive? Sarita, let's start with you.
So some things that I feel like faculty did, reminders, because sometimes you could be bogged down with a whole bunch of work. So definitely like the reminders, like the email reminders or the discussion of reminders. And then even like discussion boards, I know like a lot of people don't like them. But at the same time, the cool thing about discussion boards is that you get to see like different people's opinions and how different people view stuff. And sometimes it'll give you a different perspective on life just in general. So I know that really helped me a lot, even with learning in general, because like I might be taking a test and I'll be like, oh, wow, somebody said that during their discussion board post. So that helps. Trying to think anything else. Yeah, just like reminders, keeping in contact, little games. I know that helped me as well. I took marketing this past semester, and there was this marketplace simulation game that we had to play, and it was actually pretty fun. And even though I wasn't the best at marketing, it's like I learned a lot of valuable skills because it was in the format of a game. So if any faculty could find like stuff for their curriculum as far as games or even like crash courses or some videos, that would help.
Thank you, Sarita. Hector.
So some things that worked, especially this pandemic, was that it was really easy to connect with professors and faculty. Like compared to being in person, especially when it came to like office hours, sometimes it was hard to go to office hours or wait for your professor. But the great thing about online was that you can instantly just set a time and you can meet with your professor, which I thought was really beneficial to me because that meant I could get any questions addressed or answered that I might have not had time to ask in class. And that was honestly one of the best things that have come out of the fact that professors were so open to meet whenever and talk about whatever. And another thing was that literally, at least in my school and my experience, everybody was literally available by email, which meant that, if you needed some, counseling, they would, you can email them. If you wanted to get some tutoring, you can email and they would instantly respond. And something else that worked was that, well, at least out of my experience, most of my professors were willing to kind of change the course of the class they were teaching or kind of go off, a certain roadway, to kind of accommodate the students. And that was really great because unlike an in-person where your professors are kind of set to one thing, with an online learning, you can change many things. And I thought that was really cool and awesome because that meant that at least while it was still hard to adjust to Zoom, at least they made it easier on students to, make it easier for us to go to class and to learn.
Those are great. Kyra.
I definitely want to say it first, even though it bothered me a little bit. I guess I was being stubborn. One of my professors made it mandatory for us to get up and get dressed and get on camera. And I think that, even though I didn't really like it in the beginning, I was like, why we're on Zoom? It ended up being the best class I've had all semester for the simple fact it kept me engaged. She asked us we did current events at the beginning of class. So with those current events, we were able to, conversate with each other and actually have real conversations about things that were affecting us. We're allowed to kind of debrief and get things off our chest before class started. That way, so when we started class, we were into class. By her setting that, it kind of made me feel like I was in a classroom again. So I was able to be like super attentive. I didn't feel like I missed anything. I didn't feel lost. I could ask her, she had her hour, like an hour. She had her meeting hours, like her office hours, an hour before our class period started. So we were able to, go in before class, or even if we had to stay a little bit after Zoom to talk to her, that helped a lot. The breakaway rooms in Zoom as well. So we could actually do our group. We had a group speech due at the end of the semester. So by us going into those breakaway rooms and being able to get to know each other, she kind of humanized our whole experience. So it wasn't just get on here, I'm gonna feed you information, good luck on your Zoom quiz, or good luck on your quiz. At the end of the week, it was kind of, she let us get to know each other, and discussions on the canvas helped, but I feel like that helped me a lot more as well. I would also say something that helped me a lot was being able to Zoom with our teachers if we needed. Not all of them were available, and I noticed that the ones that weren't really available were the classes I kind of struggled with the most. By the grace, I made it on honor roll again, but it was really hard because I wasn't able to communicate with those teachers when I needed to the most. But other than that, I think Zoom was probably, or having an attentive professor So if there's any professors watching, please don't hesitate to get more hands-on with your students.
Great advice. And Jair.
Well, I think one thing the professors at my university did well was get creative with the environment they were in. And what I mean by that was they were able to find different programs online where you were still being interactive. I remember in one of my classes, I can't remember the name of the thing. But anyways, you would record yourself for an allotted time and just basically, it was like the discussion forums, but instead of just writing it out, you would actually record yourself talking about it, and you would leave comments to others' discussions as well. So that kind of connected the classroom in a way. So I really enjoyed those online platforms they were able to find and get creative with that. As Hector was mentioning, I also enjoyed the office hours. It seemed as the professors were more available than they were before. And so it was real easy just to talk to them about any question you had in class and just meet with them overall. So really enjoyed that. And I think what really helped me out the most was the recorded lessons they would upload after class through Zoom. I remember like when I first started taking classes, I would sometimes miss something the professor said or didn't write it down in my notes and couldn't remember for the life of me. So just being able to go back and look at the recorded lesson helped me out a lot. So it clarified a lot of questions that I had, and I really enjoyed that. So I think that's definitely a great resource all professors should use, is just recorded lessons from here on out.
That's great. And we only have a few more minutes left, so I wanted to just give you guys a chance to kind of look to the future and share with us, as you're thinking about your own futures, and I know a couple of you guys are graduating and have some exciting things planned, what are you most hopeful for and what are you looking forward to? And Jair, we're going to go back to you.
I think what I'm looking forward to the most is just being able to serve as a leader in my community. I think this year has taught me a lot of growth and has allowed me to connect with people that I probably would have never talked to if it wasn't for this unique situation we're in. So I want to give back to my community. I want to make people feel like they're part of it too. So I think that's what I'm most excited for in the future. I think I will be able to accomplish that in the medical field. So really excited about that. And I'm also hopeful just seeing how many individuals spoke up and came together when these tough issues were being presented, when we were faced these tough issues. That inspired me, that there's so many individuals out there in the world that want change, that want to continue to grow together. And so I'm hopeful that one day we'll all be a little bit more united. So definitely hopeful for that.
Me too. Sarita.
I think one of the biggest things that I'm looking forward to is giving back and helping out other first generation college students in the long run. Because that's my ultimate goal, is to potentially come back to Trio and help them and just be able to be that assistance where I know that I need it. So those opportunities, exposing them to the opportunities, the resources out there, and just making sure that their college experience runs smoothly as well, despite all of the challenges that they may face.
So important. Thanks for sharing. Kyra.
I'm definitely excited for my future, especially with the coaching opportunities that I have gotten from GlobalMindED. I'm definitely excited to see where that goes for me. I've noticed that I'm a lot more progressive when it comes to my specific goals and my dreams. So I'm actually, going for them as they present themselves to me. I also learned that, I don't have to pin myself to one thing. I am allowed to pursue different interests. And now that I have learned to properly manage my time and I've learned how much time I actually have, I can actually go for that and, do make my vlogs and then, learn more about coaching and learn more about spiritual coaching and things like that. So as far as that goes, I will be continuing my coaching journey and hopefully, expanding to where one day I can coach someone else. So
we're confident that that will happen. All right, and Hector.
I guess the thing I'm looking forward to is being able to use absolutely everything I've learned from GlobalMindED, and I've learned a lot, and being able to apply it everywhere. Like you guys have really taught me a lot of things that I didn't even realize about myself within the past year, and I'm so excited to be able to use these skills, and including my my school skills, to make this place a better world overall. And with this, I'm looking forward to be willing and able to take new risks and kind of try new things, and try to see what I can do with with who I am, and how I can connect with people, and how I can really just be that one person that really makes everyone smile. And I guess just in the end, be that person that will always listen and will always make sure that you're heard and make sure that you're not left out.
That's great. Well, Carol, that's all the questions I had. Thank you guys so much for just talking with me. I think, Carol, I'm sure you'll talk a little bit about this, but you can read about these insights and so many more in the report. I'm just so excited to be a part of this work and to have these fellows contribute to the work that we're doing at Every Learner Everywhere. So Carol, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thank you, Jessica. And I just want to say that you all are such an incredible inspiration to people like Jessica and I, and a bunch of people who are, in midlife and later, because so much of your outlook and your openness and your willingness to draw strength out of difficulty and find your best self is what the whole nation and the whole world needs to do, this summer and in the coming months. So I just want to acknowledge all of you. And I think what's nice for listeners who are seeing this is that you all really represent the 25 students, but you also represent those 102 students we started with. And I hope that with continuing to work with Every Learner Everywhere, and with all of you where your gifts and talents take you, we can have millions and millions of students who have the same leadership calling and generous leadership priorities that you all have. So I just want to say big thank you to Jessica, because she went to bat to get this program set up with you guys this year. So it's really hats off to her and to everyone she works with that we were actually able to do this. So just want to say it's just a pleasure working with you all. And we do have our first gen leadership training the third week of June, and we would love for you all to be involved with this year's incoming group in ways that you can now share the wisdom of what you've each gathered. So we just look forward to following you all on your journeys, and in a few years we're going to be having the Where Are They Now features and share where you guys are in the future. But it's just been a real pleasure, and we look forward to supporting you guys throughout. So thanks to everybody, and we will post this session tomorrow in the newsletter, and then be sure to share the links with each of you, as well as the link to the Student Leaders Speak report, which we hope you all will share with your college presidents and with your colleagues, so that we can really have your voice be widely known out there. So thanks to everybody. It's been incredible listening to you all today and just working with you all throughout the year. And Jessica, thank you so much for leading the session.
No problem. It was a pleasure. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much, and great job to everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for
Thank
this
you.
opportunity.
Bye.
Thanks. Kyra, so good to see you.